They were designed to be the best. They met enemies face to face, endured tragedies and enjoyed victories. They went down in history due to the bravery of their crews. They are the ships that deserve to be called naval legends.
Midway. Here, in a few bloody hours, thousands of young men sacrificed their lives. Now to the shadowy waters off Midway comes Robert Ballard, the man who discovered the Titanic. Ballard's quest is to find the American and Japanese aircraft carriers that were sunk in the battle, including the USS Yorktown. But the ships are lost more than 3 miles down, unseen, untouched on the ocean floor. The final resting place of many young men.
Been running around like crazy with the kids and so forth, but I have been able to do a little work on the bench, and I've made some progress on the Yorktown. Let me show you where we are. If you remember, we'll start off with the stern section, or I'm sorry, the bow section. What we did, we added a gun mount to the front of the bow. We removed the guns, the molded in guns, made some scratch ones with styrene and wire, and mounted them in different positions like they are in the wreck today, where best of my knowledge the way they are today. Filled in the holes inside the flight deck, the lower flight deck that is, the hangar area. And basically that's ready to get installed. After that, we turned to the stern section. Okay, and again filled in the holes, took out the molded in guns, put in some new ones, wire and everything. The wire is still a little long here. I'll adjust those later. Right now they're okay. And then on the back, this is a little hard to see. I'm not sold on how it looks yet, but from the video and the photos of the wreck on the stern section, there are 3 gun emplacements, I believe they're 50 calibers, that have been abandoned, and they're pointing straight up to the sky with their shields pointing forward. I tried to replicate that by just putting some wire, drilling some holes, putting some wire bits in there, and then gluing some shield to it. It's not perfect. Again, has to be some trimming up yet, and hopefully when it gets spray painted and weathered, that'll look a little bit better. But right now, it's not greatest, but that's all right. So that's where we are in that section. Then, continuing on the flight deck, if you remember, I was talking about on the shortened bow section of the flight deck, there are 2 gun emplacements that have to be put in here. I still haven't done those yet. What I did work on so far was the gun batteries on the forward and the rear section of the island. The kit came with 2 molded in guns, one forward, one back, and they are the ones that are, I don't know what you would call them. I'm not in the Navy. I was Air Force, but they were the lower ones that, you know, practically sat flat on the deck. The ones behind them on a raised platform weren't there. There was some blobs of plastic there that I removed with a knife, cleaned it up, and then I made with some styrene a new platform and new gun mounts. And this is what they look like. Okay, and again, they're pointing at the sky in various different angles. From what I can see, they are on the actual wreck. Okay. And then just dry fitting the island. That's what it looks like. Really, really doesn't look horrible. It looks a lot better than I expected it to be. Far from perfect, don't get me wrong, but I think it's looking fairly decent. Okay? Obviously, I haven't gotten to the island yet. It needs a lot more work to be done to it. But we'll get to that later. Another thing that I have to do to the flight deck, which will be coming up soon, is on the stern section. Remember, like I said, we did surgery on the front. We also have to do some surgery on the back. We're going to have to remove just aft of this this elevator coming forward. I'm going to have to cut off this section here because a big chunk of this is already missing on the wreck. It's chopped up. There's some exposed girders and stuff like that, and then the flight deck up to that point has been shredded and ripped up. So I'm going to try to replicate that using some homemade PE that I have. What I mean by homemade PE is I have a beer can that I drank, and I'm using the can as PE. That's what I mean. I've done it before in some other models, and it really works really well if you haven't used it before. If you guys are anti-alcohol, which you're a sick individual if you are, just kidding. Sick individuals don't like beer. No, really, if you're not into drinking alcohol, of course, a soda can works just as well. And you can use the aluminum from the can to do all kinds of modeling stuff like you would with PE. And we'll get to that later on. I'm not ready for that yet. We're going to start doing a little bit more work next to the hull section. As we know, it's a 1200 scale kit. Detail is very minimal. What concerns me the most about the hull, one thing is there's no anchors. There's just this divot here. I have to look at the photos and see if I can find an anchor, if they are actually there or not. To be honest, I'm hoping they aren't, because I haven't a clue how to recreate the anchors. I know some other guys in this build have recreated anchors. I don't know how they did it, so I'm hoping mine doesn't have them, so I don't have to worry about it. The next big thing is this section right here. This is bothering me. They replicated this part of the model, but just having this big piece of plastic here, big chunk of plastic between the front or the bow section and stern section, nothing in between. The same can probably be said for this side of the ship. According to deck plans, there is different details and doors and everything here. Because of the way the ship is sitting on the ocean floor right now, she's not sitting perfectly flat. She's sitting with the island side, which is back on this side, tilted. This forward side is raised upwards at an angle. So this is purely visible where this isn't, so I'm not going to concern myself with that. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to take this section here and remove it. Then using some plastic card, or evergreen styrene is what I use, I'm going to recreate this section according to the plans that I have, and make the garage doors and so forth like that, and then install it, and it'll be inset a little bit off the main hull. I already laid it out. Took some really thin evergreen and put it in place. There you go. Now it's can be kind of confusing right now because it just looks like a bunch of lines, which pretty much it is. But roughly cut this section here. Okay, we'll replace that big plastic section that you see that's behind it, and then in it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've lost track now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 garage doors, garage style type doors that access the lower deck. So again, this will get cut off, and then this will be put just inside the hull like that. That's the plan, and it should give the kit a little bit more detail and depth. So that's where we're at the moment. So if you guys can give me a little bit of time, I'm going to get to work on doing some plastic surgery on this, and I'll be back to see you in a little bit. Thanks. Okay, welcome back. Got the hull plate removed. It's gone, and now I'm just doing some filing, sanding, filing down the hull to make it match the rest of it. Oops, clumsy. Too much beer, or not enough beer, depends how you look at it. So now we got just about one straight line. Just have to clean it up a little bit more. Give me a second here. Okay, so that's done. Then this will sit here like this, just inside. So what I'm gonna have to do, again, take some styrene, my favorite stuff, this evergreen, and I'm gonna do a build up here on this side, and then attach this to it on the inside, just enough inside, just to bring it inside the hull just a little bit to give it a little depth. I think that should look pretty good. Okay, so the last bit for the evening, as you can see, I got the new, I'll call it the garage doors. I don't know what they are, but the new hull piece in place with the garage doors in it. The forward and aft sections of the hangar deck are all in place. It's starting to look like a ship. We pop this in place, see how it looks. Hang on. There we go. For some reason it's not lining up perfectly, but we can worry about that later. It's not going to go together yet. But basically, that's what it looks like. Not too bad. So, that's where we stand right now. We'll have some more soon. Until then, be strong. Take care, guys. Bye.